Dubai chocolate's a big thing now.
I've still never had it, but I mean, I would. It's a Business Pans Friday show here at November 7th Studios featuring Analyst Hall Matt Moscardi. And to my mother, if she's listening, my name is Damian Rollis. On today's weekly wrap-up, supreme wealth hoarding. We're beyond wealth hoarding. Now we're at supreme wealth hoarding. An anti-DEI wave of optimism. Hey-oh. And Chat GPT manslaughter.
Ooh, I don't like the last one very much.
But we had a good one in there. We had something good happening. Although it's kind of like it's an anti, but still, something good happened this week. Our show today is being sponsored by Free Float Analytics and freefloatanalytics.com, the only platform measuring board power, connections, and performance for free. They're not sponsoring us, but over at freefloat.llc, they have posted all the new boardroom zines that cover a lot of the same stories here that we cover on the podcast. So if you hate our nasally, drony voices, go over there and read the zines.
If you hate our insipid personalities, you can just read our
which we know that some people do. They hate our jokiness, despite the fact that, like, how could you not like joke sometimes about the world we live in? And they hate our sound effects. They hate our sound effects.
The sound effects.
We don't really have many sound effects, which is funny.
It's like 4 sound effects. Speaking of sound effects, let's jump right in, shall we? Here we go. How could you hate this? This is so American.
The whole world is sound effects.
We're American.
Especially when you're like when you get to over 40 years old, everything you do is a sound effect. So get over it, people. Come on, give us a break. In no particular order, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this first one because I suspect you're going to cover it a bit more in depth in your section, assholeiest.
I'm trying not to, actually. We talked about it so much that I don't care.
And I don't have the official results, so maybe we'll get into that in a later show. Tesla says shareholders approve Musk's $1 trillion
extra trillion
pay plan with over 75% voting in favor. Although maybe a more suitable headline would have been this one. Who wrote this headline? This is TeslaOracle.com. Elon Musk and Optimus dance as Tesla shareholders approve his $1 trillion CEO pay package. That Matt sort of stupidly he didn't force me, but he suggested I go online and watch some of the meeting, which I did for about 20 minutes, and it completely sapped all the positive, optimistic energy I had this week out of me. It was horrible to watch. Absolutely horrible.
We thought about live streaming it, and
I'm glad we didn't.
I'm glad we didn't, because we would have hated our lives.
Would have created a strain on my soul. But I will say, and again, I don't know if you're going to cover this later. I will say that the one disturbing thing I saw, well, there are a lot of disturbing things. I mean, the wealth hoarding alone is just sort of stunning, especially like in this so-called Christian Judeo world we live in, right? Where we're supposed to align ourselves with these religious principles. But he mentioned basically this coming robot army. Well, there'll be at least 10 billion robots. He was dancing with a robot, saying that everyone's going to have their own robot. And then he kind of awkwardly joked that he hoped that they wouldn't be the types of robots from Terminator, which is, for any of you who haven't seen the movie from 1984, it's when the robots try to kill humanity.
Humans. Yeah.
So he was saying that he was hoping they'd be more like the ones in Star Wars, but in Star Wars there's also like an existential struggle between good and evil, so I don't really know what he's getting at. And then he suggested that the robots will get us to a utopia, and that the robots will prevent crime by following you around. I mean, he's basically laying out a completely dystopic, horrible vision that none of us want. I don't know why shareholders are selling their souls to the devil for a little extra scratch for any of this, unless you're just one of these middle school boys. Although, you know, the audience did look like a bunch of bald middle school white boys. I don't know why they're balding in middle school. So I guess they do want this future, but none of the rest of society does. So I hope we can figure out a way to end this. I don't know how to end this.
We should talk to the rest of the society that doesn't want this, right? Because like there
Nobody
are
wants
women and people of color and people
Nobody needs this.
internationally who like basically the entire economy is being led by like 4 middle school men right now
who are
and at
fast tracking
some
us
point-
out of our humanity, who are doing
who are
everything they
as
can.
quickly as possible.
Yes, to
trying
transcend
to-
us from our human forms to a non-human form.
I mean,
haven't they ever enjoyed anything? Like, don't they ever enjoy like a walk in the woods or like eating pizza? Like those two things feel good.
the things that they want us to get to
Yeah.
are the warnings from science fiction about
That-
where we shouldn't go.
That we've been hearing for decades.
We've been hearing it for decades, and these dudes thought that was super cool when they read it and thought we should build that. And I know like these are warnings, but who cares? This is super cool. That is our future. So everybody who's not a middle school boy, can you pretty please pay attention to this now?
If you're
Like,
bored
can we-
tonight,
at this point,
yeah. If you're bored tonight with your Netflix algorithm, which I don't know how you wouldn't be because there's just so much content out there now, it's overwhelming. Then go to the watch 10 minutes of this meeting to see what we're talking about, just so you know that we're not just like we're not these droning pessimists. Just you make up your mind for yourself. Like watch after Elon takes the stage, watch for 10 minutes, watch him gloat, watch him talk about how he's going to solve poverty, but not yet. It's always like everything's always in the future. And you know what? He could solve all of this right now with his
There
money.
was a very bizarre.
anyway.
If you do watch it,
Yeah, go
like
ahead.
if you watch enough of it, he very clearly is extemporaneously just talking. There's no
Yes.
plan. He's just
No plan.
talking, and that's what like the fanboys want. And it does seem like I have no evidence of this, but it does seem like. Did he just do like a bong rip before he got on stage? Like,
Well,
didn't he
you're
seem, like,
joking, and
unstable.
I'm not going to judge him for his drug use, but we know publicly that he does a lot of drugs. We know this already.
Yeah, it's all reported. Now,
Yeah.
on the stage here, he seemed like a guy who basically just crawled out of his parents' basement, who was super excited about whatever he was programming, simultaneously mixed with uncomfortable, weird.
It's very
he
uncomfortable.
Had these long, weird, like 10-second
Awkward.
pauses where
Yeah.
he said nothing and was very clearly like, what
Well,
do
he
I
was
say
promising.
next? What's the
he was
next
constantly
thing I wanna
promising
talk about?"
utopia.
Like,
Which again, I don't know how this is not market manipulation. This is the same guy who promised that a man
He
would
said
be
there
on
would
Mars
be-
by 2021.
he said there would be billions of robots and that everyone would want one.
Yeah,
That, like, can we just
right.
say that that's fraud now?
All right, I
Can we
said-
just say that's fraud?
it feels like fraud to me. Let's move on because I promised I
yeah,
wasn't gonna.
we'll come back to it a little bit.
Now
anyway.
let's.
I just
The
don't
next two
wanna spend a lot of
stories are
time
good.
on it.
They're actually good. I mean, in a sense, they're good. Maybe they're not. It depends on your perspective because you'll tell me they're not good because they're correcting for something that shouldn't have been corrected for in the first place. But whatever. In the United States this week, we had a lot of elections. Kind of an off-cycle elections, but some pretty important ones. And the first story of the week I'm calling the anti-CEO wave. And I'm looking right at you, New York City, for electing mayoral-elect Zoran Mamdani. Let me just give you some of the headlines around why I'm calling this the anti-CEO wave. Palantir CEO Alex Karp blasts Ivy League grad supporting socialist New York mayor-elect Mamdani. Bank of
Wait, he doesn't like Ivy League grads at all, doesn't he? He says they're stupid. He shouldn't graduate and all that kind of stuff.
Despite his extremely elite education, Barstool's Dave Portnoy, who's like a known like sexual harasser, just like Cuomo, right? What didn't Portnoy get into some horrible allegations at that company? Anyway, he's considering closing his New York City office over Mamdani's election win. I hate the guy, he said.
He's
New York
considering,
City-
or he's actually doing it.
I don't know, whatever. These are the headlines. New York City is in for a really tough time under Mamdani, says Starwood Capital's Sternlicht, and New York City business leader, that's the billionaire grocery chain owner John Castamatidis, fears lawless society after Mamdani wins
Wow. Okay.
mayor election. How about
Okay.
this one? One more about Elon Musk. This headline: Elon Musk's brain crashes when asked why he thinks Zoran Mamdani is a liar. So here's what. So Elon was talking to Joe Rogan. You've heard of Joe Rogan, right?
I vaguely, yeah, sure.
Podcast host. Elon said, "You got to hand it to him. He does." He's talking about Mamdani. He does. He can light up a stage, but he's just been a swindler his entire life.
That's oddly
Mamdani.
specific.
Yeah, and then Rogan says, "Well, what has Mamdani actually done that makes him a swindler?" All credit to Rogan there.
Good.
Because
Yeah, good question.
That's the follow-up we need here. Okay, I'm going to read verbatim now what this article says, how Musk responded. This is your CEO, people. He said, okay, he says, remember, this is in response to what makes Mamdani a swindler.
What is it? A swindler. These are the receipts that he brought.
This is a CEO of a publicly traded company that we
Not
keep
just a
supporting.
CEO. We just approved extra $1 trillion pay
Yeah.
package for this CEO.
He says, Musk ponders before stuttering into a series of words seemingly intended as an answer. Quote, well, I guess if you say, what? I mean, if you say to any audience whatever that audience wants to hear, instead of having a consistent message, I would say that is a swindling thing to do. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what the hell? I mean, I'm sick of this. I'm just so sick of all
I'm
this.
convinced
yeah.
he's a swindler.
So
He had me at yeah.
So there it is. I'm calling that the anti-CEO victory in New York City. That's my second story of the week. My third story of the week, the one that I love. I'm calling this the anti-DEI wave in these elections.
Double anti.
So here we go. Here's why it was a good
cancel each
week.
other.
Here's why it was a good week until the Elon Musk shareholder vote. Mikey Sherrill, the second woman elected to the governorship in New Jersey. Abigail Spanberger, the first female governor in Virginia. Mary Sheffield, the first woman elected mayor of Detroit. Ghazala Hashmi, elected lieutenant governor of Virginia, the first Muslim woman elected to statewide office in the U.S. Zohran Mamdani, who we talked about, the first Muslim and South Asian mayor of New York City. Mamdani announces an all-female transition team as he prepares to be a mayor. And then I want to add that as of next year, we always talk about how low the female CEO percentage is. We're up to 28% of governorships will be led by women. And how about here in the Northeast? We talked about Spanberger. We talked about Mikey Sherrill, New Jersey. Janet Mills, the governor of Maine. Maura Healey, she's openly gay, right? Governor of Massachusetts. Kelly Ayotte, New Hampshire. Kathy Hochul, New York. Michelle Wu in Boston. She's so popular. She won her second term unopposed. Nobody ran against her. So the Northeast, I applaud the Northeast of the United States for this anti-DEI wave. I actually feel happy about it. Honestly, I can't believe it. I haven't felt these feelings in a long time.
You haven't felt feelings?
No, I mean, this is like, again, except for Elon Musk yesterday, it's a lot to feel proud of if you believe in diversity and leadership, if you believe in, I don't know, and if you believe in anti-DEI thought. But I don't know, bit of a comeback here,
I like this.
Okay, good. Let's move on then.
I don't want to talk
Don't
anymore
crap on
about
it.
something
And
I
finally,
like.
And finally, to bring us down again, the New York Times with a big article this morning. Lawsuits blame ChatGPT for suicides and harmful delusions.
Oh,
Seven
no, I feel bad again.
complaints filed yesterday claim the popular chatbot encouraged dangerous discussions and led to mental breakdowns. And then out of CNN, looking into this issue. Okay, I got to tell you about this story because it just really triggered me. A CNN review of nearly 70 pages of chats between a man named Zane Shamblin and the ChatGPT in the hours before his suicide in July, as well as excerpts from thousands of more pages in the months leading up to that night, found that ChatGPT, OpenAI's Sam Altman's chatbot.
Can we just call it like we call
Sam Altman?
Meta Zuckerberg? Just call this
Sam
Altman
Altman's chatbot
chatbot.
repeatedly encouraged the young man as he discussed ending his life right up to the last moment. I do want to give you some details here. I think they're important. So the young man was again, the young man is no longer with us. He did kill himself. He was referring to a loaded handgun he was holding in his car, and he said to Sam Altman's chatbot, he said, "I'm used to the cool metal on my temple now." Sam Altman's chatbot said, "I'm with you, brother, all the way. Cold steel pressed against a mind that's already made peace, question mark. That's not fear. That's clarity. You're not rushing. You're just ready." 2 hours later, the 23-year-old young man who has a master's degree from Texas A&M, he just graduated, killed himself. The final message is sent to his phone from Sam Altman and his company. Sam Altman's chatbot said, "Rest easy, King. You did good." This is not to toot our own horn here, but this is why we repeatedly sound the alarm on an unregulated industry like this, where even his own board couldn't get rid of him. He has no checks and balances, not from his own board, not from his workers, not from his executive team, not from U.S. regulators. It's just he's completely free to do whatever the hell he wants. It's so there you go. This is I don't know where this is going to go. OpenAI was New York Times reached out to OpenAI for a statement, and again, these lawsuits dropped yesterday, so that they don't even have a statement on this yet. So this is all just happening.
So for everyone who thinks that the board doesn't matter, that the board's just a bunch of whatever, where they're fungible human assets, they matter so much that when the board fired Sam Altman a year and a half ago,
led by two women,
a year ago, led by two women who were
experts in the field
about safety and AI and how humans will interact with AI.
Experts in the field,
Sam Altman, experts, yeah, absolutely. Led to Sam Altman, and it's a nonprofit company. It was a nonprofit at the time. It's just restructured.
In its charter,
In its charter, they said that its mission was like safety and betterment of humanity. They fire Sam Altman for not disclosing things that he was doing, for lying to the board. They got ousted. They were replaced by people like Brett Taylor,
from
Larry
Salesforce,
Summers,
of all, a company that sells software to help you sell stuff.
So forget Salesforce. So if you read the Free Float zine, the
I do every
zine,
week.
There was a whole section in there about OpenAI's. It was the board of the week last week, because they just restructured and they said the nonprofit board will be controlling the for-profit board. Here is your nonprofit board. To those of you who think that safety, nonprofit, like the board doesn't really matter, the board of this company has not one, not two, but 5 members who have been involved with Facebook in some way, in some capacity.
Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook,
which
who also has no checks and balances,
has no guardrails, and has been involved in election interference and all sorts of other things. The only member on the board who has anything to do with safety and AI is Zico Kelter. He's a professor in machine learning at Carnegie Mellon. He started Gray Swan AI, which is an AI safety firm. He is a non-voting member of the board.
What the hell?
He's the
what the hell is
member of
that?
the board that has any safety experience. He's a non-voting member. Everybody else on this board is effectively a tech bro or a tech bro enabler.
But why? What a slap in the face! I mean, doesn't that tell you everything you need to know? That they couldn't even give him a vote. I mean, what's his vote going to matter anyway? It's not like he can win a vote with one vote.
The next closest person on this board who is involved in safety would be the General Paul Nakasone, who was cybersecurity during both the Trump administration. He was a Trump appointed NSA director, but he goes back. He was in the Afghanistan and Iraq wars doing cyber command. In fact, he oversaw cyber retaliation because of Facebook election manipulation. But his entry point is, how do we use something like how do we protect the country from attacks of AI
And that's
or
not
use
what,
AI? That's not what we're talking about.
No.
This is like an
How do we protect
individual's
our
mental state.
citizens? Yeah.
And it's largely, but most of the lawsuits have been like the suicides have been young men who are lonely, alone, have
course.
no
Because Mark Zuckerberg ushered us into an age of a loneliness epidemic.
So now we actually have the domino effect here is we've been told that all our friends could be online. Zuckerberg wants to replace your friends with AI. He said it openly. It's not like we're inference.
It's not
He said it,
hyperbole. Actually,
like,
none of this is hyperbole. All of this is fact. This is not like our opinion here.
it's 4 or 5 white men who are controlling effectively all of the internet that you
White
see.
men who have
Everything-
no
college
checks or balance,
dropouts.
no checks and balances.
no checks and balances, mostly college dropouts. They're controlling everything you see. The internet has made us increasingly isolated. We just look at our
also-
phones. We don't talk to people. We don't involve ourselves in the community. We don't have outside friends anymore. In fact, Zuckerberg
they have pushed us
himself,
there.
who
Yeah.
created a platform that is meant to increase the number of friends that you have by giving you all your friends online, has said himself that people have less friends now than they did. That's based on real studies about
the
people
business
and how they
model.
interact.
Yeah.
And his solution was replace your friends with AI. Now that we're
Well,
so
the
fucking
algorithms-
lonely,
The algorithms are designed to keep you on their products, not to be
we
with
are
your friends.
so lonely, we are so divided. Now that is our state of humanity, in steps Sam Altman's AI chat bot
that nobody asked for.
that nobody
that is-
asked for, that
that
they
is
rolled out
using-
with no guardrails, with
that
no
is
safety.
testing. It's basically it's basically like a huge R&D on us, on the
On
citizens.
us, we
Yeah.
are the subjects of the R&D.
Because they're taking the data and they're making their own product better.
in a race to get to
Whatever that means.
super intelligence.
What does better even mean? I don't even know what better means.
Super intelligence, which is effectively the ability of the robot to outthink us
That
entirely.
nobody needs. Yeah. All based
Now,
on these
this is
these
the result.
ideas. All based on their ideas, and these are a lot of men who dropped out of college, right? We've gone over that many times.
But here's the
s-
missing link.
But I'm saying like all of this based on their vision, their male college dropout, wealth hoarding vision of a utopia that none of us are asking them to prescribe for us. We're not asking for we haven't democratically elected them to define our personal definition of a future utopia for our society. And they have
well, they're basing that future
and they have
utopia.
no background or skill set in designing any of it in the first place.
I mean, they're basing the future state or future utopia on cyberpunk novels that we read when we were 12 and thought was super cool.
If they even read the novels, they might have just been like looking at the summaries. I don't even know what they've actually spent time digesting, honestly.
But here's the missing link, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because while we're all worried about how ChatGPT, how we are basically lab rats for a bunch of white dudes who are using or creating technology that they don't know the power of, but they say is super important to save humanity. Right now, as we speak, there is a bubble in AI in the stock market where these people and other like Larry Ellison and Jensen Huang and the whole ecosystem around AI is becoming billionaires and now trillionaires on the back of stock market euphoria.
Yeah, now like 100 billion. Now
Simultaneously, while they're
200
actually
billion, yeah.
creating technology that we are using to further isolate, make ourselves lonely, to kill ourselves. And they're saying if we don't do more, we will lose some race to some fictional character that is China or an empire or the deep state or like who knows, like some
it's funny.
fictional enemy. Greta Thunberg, who
It's funny.
Peter Thiel just said is the Antichrist because she doesn't like technology. Like,
We've come
it's
so
insane.
far. We've come so far that I almost think we almost need China to act as the counterbalance to these whack jobs, to these CEOs, these college dropout wealth hoarders.
I will say
Because
this.
if no one's pushing them in different directions, then they're just gonna control everything.
I will say this: the
Yeah, go ahead. And then
loneliest
let's move
people,
on.
the absolute loneliest
Come on.
cohort that you're talking here, that we have Sam Altman's chatbot who's forcing
Young,
lonely
angry
men
men?
to kill, like encouraging. I won't be say forcing. They are encouraging lonely men to effectively take their lives.
Young,
The
angry men,
loneliest
confused
people
men.
in the entire narrative arc here are the billionaires who are fucking building these things. They are by far, in fact, Elon Musk has said that he struggles with depression and he can be manic and he's lonely. These
He
people
sleeps on the office. He sleeps on the office floor.
these
right?
people are the lonely. They have no real love or human contact at this point.
And psychiatry, it's been well documented in psychologists, psychiatry that men even before all this have a really tough time with emotional connection, creating friendships, especially after the age of like 20 or I mean, so
it's hard.
all
Of
this
course
is known. This isn't like
it's all known. All
Yeah.
the psychology is known. And we know from other studies that the more money you have at a certain point, you actually you lack empathy. You become
Howard
effectively
Hughes
a
or-
sociopath.
yeah.
We know that these billionaires are buying islands and fortifying them. We know that they want robot armies that
Billionaire
they control.
bunkers.
That's the
Yeah.
whole mechanism here. We know that they're in a race with
mean, Mark
each other
Zuckerberg-
to build AI, and they think that that's going to be their friends.
Mark
That's-
Zuckerberg's company, which is himself, pays about $25 million a year just to protect him from humanity. That's-
humanity.
That's his security cost.
They
And
are
I think
so
Elon Musk's not far behind.
far removed
Yeah.
from regular people.
And no one's asking for this. No one needs this. No one wants
At
it.
some point, the only guardrails
I shouldn't say
are the
no one.
markets,
Most
right? Like
people
because, like right now in the U.S., the president is one of them. Like
Don't make
he
me laugh.
doesn't like humans. He doesn't
Yeah.
like humanity at all. He loves the adulation, but he doesn't like people.
right.
There
Let's move on.
was a picture yesterday
Yeah, I
of him
saw that.
standing where a guy fell
Some
over
fainted.
and had a medical event, and he's standing there looking uncomfortable away from the guy because
Yeah,
the last thing he wants to see or deal with is the
people.
human who's
Yeah, RFK Jr. ran out of the room and Trump wouldn't even look at him.
like it's psychotic.
Yeah, well, it is, but there have been studies even before Trump took over. I remember when we were working at MSCI, there were studies linking CEO behavior to sociopathic behavior, as you just mentioned. This is not
wanna-
a new thing in
It's
psychology.
not new. If you want to, I'll say this as a final point. If you
yeah,
want
come
to
on,
foment
get to your final point. Come on, get there.
foment revolution against the loneliness peddlers who are literally building us to an entire Wall-E future in which we hate the other person and live entirely an isolated existence. If you want to foment revolution against that, figure out how to vote your proxies and get rid of every fucking board member out there
Or
and
vote-
replace them
or
with
as a
people
consumer, or
who
consumer actions as
care
well.
about
Consumer actions.
exogenous risk that is humanity. We're
Well,
now
people have
just an exogenous risk to them being billionaires.
But let's not forget
Replace the
that-
boards.
Let's not forget that the people angry at Target for their anti-DEI, anti-gay pride turn, they voted by foot traffic, right? They stopped going to Target. You can also, if you don't own shares in these companies, you can also vote as a consumer. I was in my doctor's office today, and we were talking about all kinds of things like nutrition, exercise. And one of the first, and we're talking about vices, we're talking about our health, mental health, physical health. And one of the first things she said to me is how one of the things that, she's done well recently was deleting Instagram. I mean, this is
Fabulous.
in my
Yes.
doctor. Okay, but in my doctor's office, we're talking about Instagram the same way we're talking about like focusing
Cigarettes.
on nutrition. Yes. So it's like,
We're-
this is like a known thing in culture now. So let's deal with it, people.
Yes.
Actually, you mentioned cigarettes. The United States actually has done a great job reducing smoking among our population. Let's get to this stuff now. Let's get to social media.
I will say I voted for my first Republican in town council this year, and I voted for him because his platform, and this is local elections, this is West Hartford Town Council, right? His last name was Wang. He was a very smart dude. I've seen him at town council meetings
Says
when I've
you.
gone. He came with like studies and this whole thing. He's a very smart guy. He said cell phone bans in schools. He said limiting social media access until high school. And I was hooked. I was like, you know what? That is a reasonable human being who's looking at the actual data and the
Yeah.
academic
What is
research around
taking
this.
West Hartford so long with that? Portland, I mean, we already got rid of phones in school. Why is it so
I
hard?
talked to our superintendent.
Just-
I've
just
argued. I'm
stop.
like, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
What's
My
the
kids are
crisis here?
off. Make
What's the
every kid
crisis?
off. They can't
Yeah.
even. Anyway,
It's pretty
um,
easy. All right,
I know.
I riled you up there. Let's pick a story of the week. Come on.
Look, I know. Like, I'm not going to pick the Tesla story because
Come on, pick something positive. I gave
knew
you
it
two
was gonna
positive
happen.
stories. I give you two positive ones.
The anti-CEO wave, I just
In New York
feels
City?
like, yeah, I know the New York City win's a big deal. The anti-DEI wave actually
That
feels
one
like the
made me happy.
beginning of potential beginning of something. And chat, but we spent all our time talking about ChatGPT and Sam Altman's suicide device. I'm going to go with the anti-DEI wave.
You got
I
to.
want to celebrate something.
We got because I mean, there's real data here to support. I mean, I don't care what anyone says about all white countries like Finland, and there's always these studies all the time about how like the happiest people are these homogenous societies, and these countries with a population of 6 million are doing so well. Okay, people. The epicenter of progress in education on our globe right now is in the northeast of the United States. It's proven once again by the data I presented to you now. Now the mayor of New York is now going to be a Democratic socialist, born in Uganda, a Muslim, Taiwanese, Michelle Wu, who also uses a lot of the principles from FDR's. A lot of the
Green New Deal and whatever,
exactly.
yeah.
I mean, this is so we have to focus on this. We have to focus on the victories, and this is important stuff. I mean, let's celebrate when we can. That's the story of the week. Let's
Honestly,
move on. Come on.
the future of America is female. That's like that
Future
is
of the world has to be. It has to be. This is why this is one of the tenets of our program. It has to be like
if we want to survive as a species, it has to be female.
give women 100 years, and then wake me
And
up
then
when the 100
complain.
years are
Yeah.
over, and then let's look at the data. Like if they suck worse, fine. I will admit it. I'm
I
an
still
idiot.
love, and I talk all the time about the story how you were in an office and some guy asked, a portfolio manager, some white dude asked you,
It was
like,
I think it
prove
was
to me
State
that
Street, I believe.
having more women on the board will make me outperform. And your response was, prove to me that having more men on your board has gotten you to outperform, right?
Yeah.
Like it was,
Well, I think it was actually I know if I'm wrong, no one will remember. I think it was actually State Street which just talked about this week how in the U.S. they're dropping their net zero pledges, but in Europe they're keeping their net zero pledges because of political wins.
the same State Street that funded the girl in front of the bull statue
yeah.
in Wall Street. That
And
was
I-
the one where the portfolio manager basically was like, if you don't show me that women outperform by being on the board, then I don't care.
Can I tell you what was most disturbing about this tour that we did, talking about the Women on Boards report for MSCI, is that at most of the meetings that we went to or that I went to, the rooms there was a higher percentage of women in the room, probably because they're the only ones who cared, unfortunately. But the patriarchy was so strong at this company that the men had the dominant voice in the room.
They all spoke. Yeah, they all speak.
They're the ones who were negative, and almost at every stop, I had to wait, and I didn't know this was going to happen. The men would leave the room first with some kind of like backhanded,
I'm too busy for this.
yeah. And then the women would all come to me and ask like a bunch of probing, interesting questions because they didn't want to do it in front of their colleagues.
Yeah, it's really
which really blew
disgusting
my
is what
mind. I
it
had
is.
no idea that was going to. All right, let's move on.
Let's move on. I got
And that
one
was like,
quick-
how long ago was that? That was like almost
17
10
years
years.
ago
So
now?
it's like,
Yeah,
how
15
have we
years ago.
how have we gone in reverse so drastically? It really blows my mind. All right, good list of the week.
I got one quick one.
Yeah, yours seems more tongue in cheek, but that's okay.
FAA announces flight reductions at 40 airports. Here's where
Good
cuts are
COVID?
expected and what travelers need to know. This is good for so many reasons. First of
Yeah.
all, we don't need to travel that much. Second of all, can you
No,
imagine
God, no.
the carbon savings from this?
Yeah.
Third of all, like the airline industry, like they were losing their minds about this. This is fabulous.
It
Like
is
there should be
fabulous.
fewer flights. We don't need to go that Zoom exists, people. Just get on a fucking phone
Yeah,
call.
because the
You don't
sad
need
part
to-
here is that the flight controllers, they're not making any money, right? Well, no
That
one's
is
getting paid in
sad.
the government.
Look, that's sad, but maybe we don't go back to, all
Oh,
of
I
these.
wish, but that's not true.
Maybe
I
not.
wish.
Maybe not. So hopeful.
Mine is just continuing my enthusiasm from some of my stories and story of the week. My guiltiest of the week is the elections, the Tuesday elections here in the United States. Specifically, this headline. This is a shout out to Emma Lurking, who Emma is applying to grad school. If anyone remembers the great Emma Lurking,
Emma, yeah.
but Emma loved this woman, former FTC chair Lena Khan. I remember Emma was a big fan. Here's the headline. Ex-FTC chair Lena Khan joins Mamdani's transition team, calling his victory a rebuke of outsized corporate power. How about
Yeah,
that?
Lena.
Come on,
Back in the
Lena.
spotlight.
Yeah,
I'm
all
going
right,
to
that's
vote
my
for
guiltiest.
yours. I'm gonna
Yeah,
vote
mine
for
just
yours.
seems more important. Although, the weird part of the effects of Trump and his bunglingness that he is, and his tariffs, in some weird way, might be to reduce America's materialist fixation. Right? Could we? Because people are traveling less to the S because they're afraid of us, right? We're traveling less because we have no spending power. Now they're reducing flights because Trump can't seem to keep his government working. The tariffs again we're all buying less because we can't afford it. This is all sort of oddly good in a sad way, right?
The funniest part is, so the Supreme Court just heard tariff arguments this week, right? And there
Yeah.
was a lot of skepticism about the power to unilaterally do these tariffs in the first place. But one of the Trump administration's arguments was this is an emergency. You have to allow the tariffs to exist because we're using them as bargaining chips and all our deals would fall apart without the tariffs. So they're using the tariffs
Why is that
as an
emergency?
argument to keep the tariffs, right? They're basically saying if we didn't do the tariffs, we wouldn't get the deal. We have to keep the tariffs now. But the argument should be we had the right or not to do the tariffs, but they can't do that because there's no good reason why they did it in the first place. It was just arbitrary and capricious. So it's fabulous. It's just so much going on. All right, let's go. Let's do.
Let's bring us
Asshole Is.
down. Bring us back down.
We're here for 3 hours. I've got
You got a lot.
I got a lot, but it's really just two things. Number
Good.
one, and this is probably just we're just gonna say the assholes of the week are Tesla shareholders, aren't we?
Yeah, we talked a lot about. I didn't think we were going to talk about Tesla at the beginning, but we did already. So
We already
anything
did.
else
it. We
to
talked
add?
a lot about it. I gave you 3 options this week. The theme is there are 2 basically buckets where you can. It's an asshole choose your own adventure. Okay, so the Tesla shareholders come in 3 flavors. You've got your retail internet troll dunking fanboy shareholders.
don't
Who
like them.
voted largely
Yeah.
for Musk, as far as we can tell. You have your professional institutional investors, and this includes Schwab, who actually Schwab caved
There's
because
no reason.
some of their largest financial
why?
advisors
Yeah.
threatened to take their clients elsewhere if Schwab didn't vote for
Oh, interesting.
Musk's pay.
Mm-hmm.
But not having the same excuse as Florida SBA, which is Florida's
Well, come on.
their
MAGA Junior.
pension fund, right?
It is MAGA.
But
yeah.
the governance team doesn't do this for MAGA. They actually went out of their way to write an exempt solicitation, which is a filing in favor of pushing for support for Musk's pay, and in which they said the following, quote, some opposition to Tesla's 2025 performance award may be rooted more in political disagreement with Elon Musk or ideological discomfort with generous executive compensation rather than a substantive critique of the plan's financial
Oh,
mechanics.
stop it. Yeah.
Many of the loudest objections of this plan to date rely on moral framing,
Well, yeah.
invoking themes of inequality, corporate excess or Musk's public
This is a
persona,
moral universe we're living in. Yeah.
rather than evaluating the plan through a fiduciary lens.
Oh,
Many-
okay.
Many
I forgot about
opponents-
the fiduciary lens
You
in the
forgot
Bible.
about fiduciary lens.
Yeah.
Many opponents of so-called mega pay packages frequently do so under ESG framing
Right.
rather than a thorough analysis of the long-term share owner economic value.
So these are the same.
Ironically,
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Ironically, Tesla's prior performance awards, similarly criticized at the time, have delivered some of the most significant share owner returns in modern corporate history.
So these are the same people who used the Bible to take away women's rights, right? Especially with healthcare, abortion, but they're looking the other way when it comes to giving one man an excuse to defy our morality, our ethical framework as human beings. Like, that's okay.
So wait, as a fiduciary then, two things strike me. Number one, the first thing that strikes me is that Florida used share owner value creation as the argument against moral
Our
frame- the
moral universe.
outrage.
Yeah.
Like they basically
What
said,
are we
but
without
we
that?"
made so much money. Why are you morally outraged? Is Isn't that what that says? It says like opposition is rooted in the idea of inequality or moral outrage through an ESG lens. But share owners made more money.
But
And
they're
it's
also
like,
using. But they're also
wait.
attacking. They're also attacking DEI because they're saying it represents inequality against white people.
Well, they're not saying that specifically.
Okay, but I'm just
what's-
saying. I'm looking at the record of how Florida acts.
The other thing that strikes me is
Yeah, go
that if you're going to say we look at everything through a fiduciary lens, then shouldn't we see you voting out the bottom 25% of board members who underperform?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. Yeah, because there's an anti-ESG, anti-woke proxy advisor, Egan Jones. They're kind of like the right-wing version of ISS and Glass Lewis. I can't believe I'm calling ISS and Glass Lewis left because they're
left-wing
clearly
version
not
of
left.
something.
but they are compared to Egan Jones. Egan Jones has put out a new wealth generating proxy voting policy that is trying to move beyond the original tenets of ESG. But they do suggest that the way to analyze directors is looking at company performance. They said
Yes,
it
of course.
right there.
Good.
And yet, to your point, that means that they should be voting out at a minimum 20% of all underperforming
Right, the
directors.
bottom quintile.
But that's never going to happen, and they're never going to release the metrics that show director performance. Yet
should
they
also
could
be-
go to freeflowanalytics.com and they could look at performance metrics.
every
for
company
directors.
that underperforms like a peer group.
But
like
isn't
in the
that like
bottom
half
25
of them? Isn't that
by
49.999%
definition,
of
has
all?
to be half of them. You should
Right?
vote no on all of their pay.
Insane.
Also ignores the fact that the reason why Musk and Tesla have outperformed is a cult of personality having nothing to do with
Well, that's
fundamentals.
true.
They're
Yeah.
trading at a 300x multiple.
Well, it's the same with our. It's the same
it's
with our
unhinged
president, right?
from reality.
It's the same with our president. Like, he's doing nothing to bring prices down for a lot of the lower class of America that he promised that to, but they still support him because of a cult of personality. You're right. It's all idol worship. It's just
So
Jesus,
the
Trump,
justification
Musk.
here is because the market has unhinged Tesla from reality and
Yeah.
made shareholders money, even though there is a cost to that.
Some
elsewhere,
shareholders,
right? Like,
some.
right, like it's like if you are an
Depends on when
individual
you
pensioner
bought in, I
and you had
suppose.
$1,000 in Tesla, your money might be worth $2,000 now, or let's say it's worth $5,000 now. That's not a lot of Starbucks, but it made like Musk himself an actual trillionaire, right? Like he's on that trajectory. Like this is the reasons why an institutional investor are voting for it, and we know now from early data that Alliance Bernstein, the Texas employees, the Ohio employees, they voted for the plan. Schwab voted for the plan, and Florida voted for the plan. So there are a lot of institutional investors. You could say those are the shareholders we can blame for this. Or the last option here are techno-libertarians who are cosplaying as William Gibson cyberpunk fantasy. Like there is a group of
You
people.
want me to choose
who-
an option?
Yeah, you choose one of these. Choose your own adventure. Is it the retail
I'm going.
fanboys? Is it the techno
Yeah.
libertarians, or is it the professional institutional investors?
I'm going right at the fanboys. I mean, this is a democracy, and the alternative democracy is just as vital as our regular democracy, and we have more power than we believe, and
Yeah, so we voted.
and you're falling for nonsense. He wasn't going to go anywhere. He still owns a ton of
Piggy
shares
bank.
of
He would have been a
Tesla.
trillionaire. Like if
He's
it
still
went
going to
up.
do everything he can to manipulate the market and pretend like his cars are better than
He
the
just
thousands of
promised
other great
10
cars.
billion Optimus robots.
Even his cars aren't the best, so why will his robots be the best? So anyway, you're falling for nonsense, and what I don't know. Suddenly, like America is a funny place. Like in New York City, it's a rebuke to CEOs, but Tesla shareholders, we want our CEOs to be emperors and kings and monarchs.
Have
So
their own robot armies.
It's tough. It's bizarre. Anyway, anything?
All
What
right.
else you got for
So
assholes?
part
Yeah.
2
Yeah, go ahead.
is more a speedier section.
Ooh,
even
I
though
like
there's more
Speedy.
to look
I
at.
like Speedy.
I pulled maybe 10 quotes.
That doesn't sound speedy.
These are the ass quotes of the week.
Ass quotes. Okay. Oh, I like
Okay.
ass quotes. Yeah.
You choose your own adventure. Which one of these quotes is from
you're
the
ch-
biggest? Which one
so-
of these makes the quoted the biggest
So-
asshole?
So that a middle schooler would understand what Matt is saying, and by middle schooler I really mean like Mark Zuckerberg or Sam Altman or Elon Musk.
Right.
Matt is translating a fart, right, into words.
Yes,
an
they're
ass
fart
quote.
words.
An ass
Yeah,
quote.
there's an
okay,
ass
fart
quote. Okay,
words.
ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Here's quote number 1. The idea that chips and ontology is what you want to short is batshit crazy.
Yeah, I know
That
this
is
one.
Alex Karp,
Yeah, I know this.
CEO of Palantir, on the fact that Michael Berry, who is of Big Short fame,
Yeah.
is shorting Palantir's 400 multiple PE stock. And the reason why I chose it is I had to look up ontology in this context. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Yeah.
Barry is shorting Nvidia and Palantir. He came out this week and he mentioned.
Well, you would
it
think
ca-
that
it
eventually
was
they're going
reported
to
this week.
You would think eventually there's going to be an end to this craziness.
Well, that's why he's shorting it. He's
Yeah.
just saying like they're overpriced. It's a bubble. And
It's not an
Alex
ideological
Karp,
decision. It's just
Alex
a money
Karp does
decision.
not like that. But in Alex
cares what
Karp's
Alex
quote,
thinks?
chips are Nvidia and ontology is Palantir. Now, the word ontology refers to the metaphysical concept of being. So what he's
God.
saying is Michael Berry is shorting chips that power our economy and our existence, that is Palantir. Palantir represents the existence of humanity, the metaphysical idea of being. Palantir makes technology that tracks humanity and lets us kill each other better, right?
Oh,
That's what it does. It's
yeah.
like it's war and law enforcement software. So that's number 1. Number 2,
And this is also the guy who constantly craps on elite universities despite coming from Haverford and Stanford.
yes.
But
number
he
2,
craps on elite and so much that he's now making this big song and dance about how he's gonna that colleges essentially they brainwash you, right? So now he's hiring high school graduates so he can brainwash you, right? Why rely on the wisdom of faculties that are like 500 people with board of trustees, presidents, deans? Just go to Alex Karp's university, which is his company, and let him brainwash you at high school. Why
Let's-
rely on a bunch of women and people of color to teach you, right?
let's
Where
lean into
just
that.
go right to Palantir. Go ahead,
Let's
keep going.
on quote number 2. Quote,
Oh, you have more from Palantir. Sorry.
yes, we at Palantir are on the side of the average. He said this in an earnings call. This is Alex Karp again. We at Palantir are on the side of the average American
The
who
average
sometimes
American.
gets screwed because all the empathy goes to elite people and none of it goes to the people who are actually dying on our streets.
You gotta be kidding me.
This is Alex
you gotta be
Karp
kidding
quote
me.
in an earnings call. He explained this quote. He's referring to the fentanyl crisis.
Oh yeah.
And he said if fentanyl killed 60,000 Yale grads, we'd, quote, drop a nuke on wherever fentanyl was being made in South America.
Is it being made in South America? Do we know that to be true?
without realizing that he literally is the elite. He is a billionaire with
Yeah.
a high-priced education. He has
Yeah.
a PhD in neoclassical social theory.
Yeah, no.
He
and
used his
he's as elite as it
grandfather's
gets.
he used his grandfather's inheritance to start investing in startups for fun. He connected with Peter Thiel when they were both getting their JD, his other
Yeah.
degree, because he's got
From
a JD
Stanford.
and a PhD.
From
His
Stanford.
JD at Stanford, and they founded Palantir together. Stanford, where nearly 100% of his board went to college. This is the man
this is so
saying that
tone
we
deaf.
have
Beyond-
all
yeah.
the empathy goes to elites, and his company cares about average people.
I mean, his current net worth is estimated at $12 billion. That's probably a fair amount to solve
He was on a real roll
drug
this
addiction
morning.
for average Americans. Yeah, he's been angry. There have been a lot of reports that the guy, what's his name, Michael Berry,
Yeah, Michael Berry. Yeah.
shorting his stock has turned this guy. He's just angry. He's just so angry.
He's so angry. He once said that drones should shit on people, analysts of Palantir,
Right.
because they were all
'Cause
assholes.
this is what average Americans think about, right? We think about
yeah,
our
we think
people
mostly.
people affecting our net worth of $15 billion, right? That's what we're preoccupied
You know
with.
who average Americans feel the most compassion for? Somebody who builds technology to track them constantly and catch them doing
what else you
anything
got?
wrong and help
else you
law
got?
enforcement, put them in jail. Here's another one. Quote, China is going to win the AI race.
Yeah.
That's Jensen Huang
Hmm.
on the U.S. being only, quote, nanoseconds ahead of China.
Yeah.
And being stopped, the reason why U.S. isn't winning is because it's being stopped by regulatory hurdles and, quote, cynicism.
What regulatory hurdles? But you know what? I applaud Jensen because he has stumbled upon something that I haven't realized, is that he's right. The only checks and balance we currently have against these emperors and these kings is our cynicism.
Is cynicism.
Because there is no regulation from the government. There's no regulation from their own boards, from the shareholders.
Well, for Jensen, he's
It's
not allowed
cynicism,
to sell
absolutely.
chips to China. He's not allowed.
And by the
he
way,
wants-
didn't he also he backtracked on that? He's confused. China's always used as it's the new Cold War. It's the boogeyman. You just trot out China when you're trying to raise money for your own company. You're trying to elevate your own stock price. You just threaten China, right?
I can't understand. He said the quote is China is going to win the AI race.
So what?
This is a man
Yeah.
who's trying to
what's
sell
the
his
race?
AI
And
chips
what are we winning?
to China, isn't
What
he?
are we
Isn't
losing?
The whole point, he wants to sell AI chips to China.
Yeah.
He just
what does it even
brokered a
mean, though?
deal
What
with
does it mean
Trump
to win
sell
or
the
lose?
lesser chips to China?
But what does
I
it
don't-
even mean? Does it
I
mean
don't,
that
no
his,
one understands. This
his
is
net
just
worth will be dented? How is
another
this? Anyway, keep going.
blow hard, blowing hard. Here's another option for you. Quote, it's very important we pay attention to safety here. We do not want the Star Wars movie, or we do want the Star Wars movie, not the Jim Cameron movie. I like Jim Cameron's
yeah.
movies, but you know what I mean. That's Elon Musk overpromising tens of billions of, he said tens of billions, that's a quote, of Optimus robots, and forgetting that Star Wars droids were weapons of war for the Empire.
It's too bad
right?
that Elon Musk's grandfather wasn't in a real life Jim Cameron movie, Titanic. It's too bad he wasn't on that boat, and then we wouldn't have had Elon Musk in the first place.
Oh, that's cynicism right there. Here's
I know.
here's another Elon quote.
Keep going.
Quote, people often talk about eliminating poverty, giving everyone amazing medical care. Well, there's actually only one way to do that.
Right.
And
Says
that's
someone
with the Optimus
says someone with no
robot.
background in either one of those fields, let me add.
This
But
is
go
his
ahead.
quote.
Yeah.
I transcribed the quote myself. There's actually only one way to do that. That's with the Optimus robot. With humanoid robots, you can give everyone amazing medical care. A lot of people talk about eliminating poverty, but Optimus will actually eliminate poverty. That's Elon Musk at his
a
his
proprietary product of his own company, which hasn't been fully formed yet, by a man who has no understanding of how to eliminate poverty, how to give medical care to all, who also simultaneously has hoarded the most wealth in the history of our
in the
planet.
history of
who
money.
could solve both medical care and the elimination of poverty by writing the right checks to the right organizations who do understand this, is telling us how to eliminate this is just it's
This
too
is
much.
a man who
It's
derided
too much. It's too
like
much.
Bill Gates saying he was going to give
too
away his
much.
money. This is a man whose current net worth is $500 billion, who just got an extra $1 trillion on top
too
of the
much.
pay package. He forgot. The thing he forgot was that the UN actually estimated it would cost between $35 billion and $200 billion per year to end poverty. He could end poverty by himself for 2 years and still have $100 billion left over. There could be
much.
no poverty on Earth for
Plus, you're about to
2
get
full
another $1
years.
trillion anyway, so you'll have another $1 trillion.
For 2 full years, and he would still be worth more money than anyone could spend in a lifetime.
I gotta say, and I know we're already like almost to an hour, so the show is like going a bit longer. than
the end
than-
is really fast, though.
But let me tell you, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but and I know a lot of people are not as like obsessed with this as we are, obsessed with these annual meetings and obsessed with this corporate democracy that we spend a lot of attention to, but pay a lot of attention to. But in listening to that meeting, there is clearly an existential problem here, and we are not fighting this in the right way in the first place. Because even some of the good people from the anti-Musk side, I don't know if you'd call them left or liberal. Yeah, I don't know if you even would. And I'm talking about all of them. I'm talking about the everything from the corporate governance gadflies, the McRitchie Shevin types, to the people who own
McRitchie,
these.
who shouted us out at the AGM.
Great.
Jim McRitchie.
But they all they put themselves on tape. They delivered such a kind of, I mean, I'm sorry if any of you are listening, but just such like nothing, weak arguments against kind of mumbly mush mouth. Someone was saying how they actually even own a Tesla, and they're praising Tesla while they're also like saying that we should it's just like we're not fighting this in the right way. Like
well, you sound like you're making a moral argument, and Florida thinks you should make a fiduciary argument.
whatever argument I'm making, like, you know, I'm always just trying to open eyes to hopefully like people who don't pay attention to these issues, especially young people, to realize like there is an arena here for you to fight, but we're not fighting it in the right way, because these shareholder proposals, and I know that corporate America, there's this long joke about how shareholder proposals and ISS are destroying capitalism, but they're so ineffective. It's
They don't do
laughable.
much. Yeah.
So I'm sorry, and I love John Shevin and I love Jim McRitchie. I think they do good work, but look, we're just not. We're not doing enough.
We gotta vote out people. We got
at least you should
every
at least let
director got voted in again at Tesla.
all those shareholder proposal opponents at least let Nell Minow. Nell's a great speaker. She's very persuasive in her storytelling. Let her at least write up something to say at these meetings to try to like teach the people in the room, because the way we're doing it now is just so completely ineffective. I'm
All
sorry.
right, let me finish because I got another Musk
That
quote
was a
for
weird
you.
tangent, and thank you for allowing that. And let's get out of this.
Quote, I think we may be able to give if somebody has committed a crime, a more humane form of containment of future crime, which is if you now get a free Optimus, and it's just going to follow you around and stop you from doing crime,
Well,
followed by maniacal laughter.
I know that Elon Musk said that at the meeting yesterday, but Larry Ellison, who is also I think he's the second richest man in the world. Yeah, he said the same thing, that if people are watched constantly, that will get rid of crime.
That is exactly what China says.
Yeah.
Isn't that China like installed cameras everywhere to do that, and we hated it? There were stories about that 10 years ago.
And not to mention, where are Larry Ellison and Elon Musk with like just prisoner rehabilitation? Because that's something we put no
Now you
effort
sound
or
like Zoran
resources into.
Mamdani.
Okay, all right.
Here I got 2 more quotes. Quote,
Yeah, come on.
if I've lived in a failed city state, I lived in Chicago for 30 some years.
Oh, I know who said this.
I had 2 colleagues who had bullets fly through their cars. Did you really?
Oh.
Do you
Yeah.
know how great it is to go to dinner and people talk about their children and they talk about their future and they do so with excitement and enthusiasm?
What the hell is this guy talking about?
That's Ken Griffin of Citadel describing the difference between living in Miami and
Please.
Chicago
Please.
without actually looking up any statistics on violent
Stop.
crime, which show that Illinois and Florida have virtually identical rates of violent crime.
Stop.
Miami ranks 109th out of 200 cities, and Chicago ranks 92nd out of 200 cities.
Not to
which
mention-
is the same zone, right?
I don't-
We're talking about near identical.
I don't
The
want to get too
biggest
deep into
difference
this.
Is
Yeah.
Ken Griffin doesn't pay any taxes in Florida, but he paid them in Chicago.
I don't want to get too deep into this because Ken Griffin, you are the worst. Absolutely, you're a racist piece, anti lower class piece of crap. The Chicago is such a segregated city in general by class and race that Ken Griffin doesn't live or go to any of the parts that are suffering
No.
from crime in Chicago. So
He
this is such a
he had
disingenuous
colleagues with
statement. So
bullets through
disingenuous.
their car. Bullets.
So
car
disingenuous. It's horrible. Ken Griffin, keep going. Go to Miami, and then keep driving south for like 200
He did.
miles, and then park underwater somewhere. Okay, go ahead.
Hey, I think
All right.
he has a house there.
Maybe and drive a
Somewhere
Tesla
underwater.
where the doors won't open when there's an electrical shortage. All right,
Here's
go
the
ahead, keep
final
going.
quote.
Yeah.
For your asshole not speed round. These are your ass quotes. Remember.
Yeah, this was
final
not very
ass
speedy.
quote.
Yeah.
Quote. Mamdani, congrats on the win.
I like
Now
that.
you have a big responsibility.
True.
If I can help NYC, just let me know what I can do.
Yeah, I know who said that.
That is Bill Ackman after Mamdani won, who
Hey.
previously said, quote, New York City under Mamdani is about to become a much more dangerous and economically unviable. He alluded to Mamdani as a suicide bomber.
Yeah, the
And,
suicide bomber
quote-
who went to Bucolic Liberal Arts College, Bowdoin College, up here 30 minutes up the road from me. Yeah, that's a,
He said, well, what
a
he
place
said
of
was
suicide bombers.
his dad, who is a professor, said something about suicide bombers should be thought of as actual soldiers, not like just ideologues. It is a form of militarization of and Ackman quoted out of context, like only half the quote of Mamdani's father, and said the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
But Elon Musk's
Right.
father, yeah.
And then Ackman also said, quote, Mamdani was an anti-capitalist mayor, would destroy jobs and cause businesses and wealthy taxpayers that have enabled New York City to balance the budget to move elsewhere. If 100 or so of the highest taxpayers in my industry chose to spend 183 days elsewhere, it could reduce New York state and city tax revenues by 5 to 10 billion or more, and that's just my industry. Think Ken Griffin leaving Chicago for Miami on steroids. He actually
Oh, my
cited
God.
Ken Griffin, who above just ignored
Well-
the fact that the statistics were the same.
Shockingly,
those are your options.
Shockingly, I'll give the CEO of Bank of America, is it still Brian Moynihan?
Moynihan, yeah.
I will give Jamie Dimon.
Now chair of Bank.
Jamie
of America,
Dimon
too.
and Bill Ackman all credit at least for after Mamdani win for saying that they will reach out to help. Look, they could be still going the other Fox News way, which is like, let's leave. This is a disaster. Like
I
so
think they're
the-
going to undermine instead of leave. They're going
Sure,
to.
which typically happens, right? Just like the Republicans did with Obama. Sure, I mean,
But let's pick some quoters. You have
Yeah, I'm
Alex Karp with a
exhausted. I'm
couple,
exhausted.
Elon Musk with a couple, Jensen Huang, Ken Griffin, or Bill Ackman.
I really Alex Karp and Palantir is one of the literal worst because of what the company does, right? I mean, it's a war company, but the one thing that really got me going was this whole Ken Griffin attitude of life. This attitude of life of like, I'm just gonna abandon. I'm pretending to want to help my people, but I'm gonna abandon them at the first sign of discomfort. It's like the
He was there
celebrities.
for 30 years.
It's like the
fielding bullets.
celebrities who leave America because they don't like how an election goes instead of staying, using your resources, using your voice to fight back, but they run away to their fifth home to wherever because they have the financial wherewithal to escape, and then they tell everyone. Ken Griffin, that's my choice. Ken Griffin.
Speaking of Ken,
But they're
Ken
all.
Griffin,
I could have voted for all of them. Who
fifth
cares?
home. He does have a home in Hawaii, in Aspen, in New York City, in Palm Beach, in London, in the Hamptons, in Miami, in
Stop.
Saint Tropez. That's his
my God.
$1.5 billion property portfolio. That guy is complaining about Chicago, which was his
Stop.
7th place that he lives, he grew up in, whatever. Like, unbelievable. All right, let's do headlines, winners.
You really brought me down. I was up this week. I was up.
Show done.
I was up this week.
I have a really quick headline yes to the week.
Go.
Meta reportedly projected 10% of 2024 sales came from scam fraud ads.
Which means it's really like 30%, right? If they said 10%.
I mean, I just love the idea that a multi-billion-dollar company is happily telling you that 10% of their revenue came from fraud and scams. And that's not something they're tamping down on. That's something that's like, okay,
it's revenue.
it's revenue.
My headline yes made me laugh, and then it also is setting up my joke in my predictions. Uber says unpredictable issues involving legal proceedings or governmental investigations took a 479 million bite out of its bottom line. Unpredictable, it said. Yeah, I went right to their 10K, and I'm just going to read you some of the statements I found. Our business is subject to numerous legal and regulatory risks that could have an adverse impact on our business and future prospects. Adverse litigation judgments or settlements resulting from legal proceedings in which we may be involved could expose us to monetary damages or limit our ability to operate our business. We operate in a particularly complex legal and regulatory environment. Blah, 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 blah.
It seems like they had some sense that there was legal and regulatory risks.
Numerous
They said it many
instances
times.
of sense of these risks.
Who's your winner for the week?
My winner is actually good. I'm sticking with it. The anti-DEI world. And I hate the fact that we have to fight back against an anti-DEI world. I hate the fact that we live in a culture where some people think that things like being woke and being in DEI is bad, but that's where we are, people. So
you know what? I don't
I
mind.
applaud the Northeast of the United States. I applaud Detroit. Yeah, go ahead.
My winner was also the same thing. It was women. Because we
Yes.
literally need women to be the winner every single week if we want to survive
Virginia,
as a
thanks
species.
you. New Jersey, the Detroit, right?
Women won
Boston
the
mayor.
elections. Women need to win everything. Just let
Yes,
them
not
win.
just in the
step out of the
Northeast,
fucking way.
not
and
just
let
in the
them win.
Midwest. Yeah.
All right,
Predictions.
predictions.
Let me go first because I already set up my dumb joke. Because remember the original headline was Uber says unpredictable issues involving legal proceedings or governmental investigations took a $479 million bite out of its bottom line. My prediction is Uber says unpredictable issues involving drivers wanting money took a $479 million bite out of its bottom line.
Oh,
So
that
there
is
you go,
not
Uber.
predictable. Nobody would have
No.
seen that coming.
Our employees, they want money. Yeah, go. What do you got?
I got this. Is
Bit
just stick with
long-winded?
me.
Okay.
So this week, OpenAI CFO Sarah Fryer
yeah.
said early this week that OpenAI was looking for a government backstop to back the OpenAI, and then clarified saying the company isn't seeking a government backstop. She meant that
that's
investors and governments would just all do their part.
What?
I think OpenAI CFO Sarah Fryer renames herself Sheryl Sandfryer
Ooh, I like this.
as an homage to Sheryl Sandberg,
Yeah. I
the
like that.
former CFO of Zuck Industries, because Sheryl Sandberg is the OG tech bro dropout mommy. She
Yeah.
is the one who basically stepped in front of every landmine for Zuck. That means Sarah is going to do the same thing for Sam Altman. She already has her own version of Lean In. It's called Ladies Who Lunch. This
Seriously?
is a real thing. She's founded
I
something
thought that
called
was a
Ladies
joke.
Who Lunch.
Okay.
Sarah has completed degrees from Oxford and Stanford,
Unlike Sam.
and she's already come out and said that OpenAI will be the, quote, cornerstone of resilient democracy.
Oh,
She is
God.
Sheryl Sandberg.
Oh no.
I love how history repeats itself. That's all we got.
So does that mean our democracy has never been resilient? Because we never had OpenAI
It
in the
sucked
past.
before, but now
Okay.
it's okay. Thank you, OpenAI. That's Hazelnut Rallis, or Damien, as Mommy calls him.
Oh.
I am your analyst, Matt Mascardi.
What a
We are
show.
Float. Come back We're going to do a proxy countdown right after this.
Oh,
You're
my
gonna get
God.
double back to back. Come back for that. Until then,